Hi, I'm Gregory Hodgson here today at the 2018 Canadian Science Policy Conference with Nizar Ladak. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having
You're
me.
the President and CEO of Compute Ontario.
Correct.
I wonder if you could start by just telling us, in your opinion, what is the greatest challenge that's associated with helping Canada position itself as a global leader as artificial intelligence and high performance computing start to break through into both the financial and technology private sectors?
Sure. I think it always comes down to the people. In Canada, we've had a challenge with not only developing highly qualified personnel in fields like data science and artificial intelligence, but also being able to keep them. This year alone, we had between 18 to 20,000 unfilled data science jobs. I think as well, recognizing where we are, that it's incumbent on us who work in this field to develop a policy framework. We know that technology advances in notoriously fast ways, and yet policy development is notoriously slow. And so I think it's incumbent on us to be able to bridge the gap between those particular areas in order to better serve the Canadian innovation ecosystem.
So I was present at your panel session yesterday, which I think went really well.
Thank you.
Very enjoyable.
Thank you.
And that was on policy considerations upon the convergence of artificial intelligence and high performance computing. So could you maybe elaborate on some of the discussion that was generated during the panel session regarding incorporating the social sciences or really all aspects of what we discussed?
I think the key message we wanted to deliver was that investments in digital research infrastructure have not been internationally competitive. Normalizing against GDP, Canada consistently ranks about 6th in the G8. And since about 2012, we stagnated. And then since 2015, we've actually dropped. We've actually fallen behind the United States consistently since 1993. And so I think what we recognize this year with federal budget announcements, with billions of dollars being invested in our innovation ecosystem, we're particularly excited to see what impact that will have. And we're encouraged that I think science is making a rejuvenation almost in Canadian society.
So building upon that, what do you think is the type of strategies or policies that need to be set in motion now so that we can guarantee that the next generation of Canadian scientists and researchers have the tools that they need to make Canada an attractive place not only to learn and to live, but also to do business and to do research?
I think we need to allow Canadian-made research to inform policy development. For example, at Compute Ontario, what we've done over the last year is focused on 2 studies. We've developed a study on looking at retaining, developing, and recruiting highly qualified personnel. The other study was around technology needs. Both were led by provincial advisory groups. And I think what those studies will hopefully do is provide the government with a roadmap on how to address the limitations or challenges in those particular sectors. I think that in many ways that being able to combine that quantifiable data and set the baseline speaks to Canada's strengths. We have strengths in education, in DI, in data science. And so being able to put a policy framework around that, I think will give us quantifiable and measurable ways in which to address those paths.
Great. And just to wrap up, there's one final question I'd like to ask. What do you see as the greatest value of the Canadian Science Policy Conference?
It's incredibly powerful to assemble the science policy community in one place. It not only identifies points of collaboration and potential partnership opportunities, but it pulls the strengths. In many ways, I like to think of it as the Canadian way. We look at knowledge and strengths from coast to coast and bring them under one roof to be able to solve the challenges that we're facing as a community. So I think it's a wonderful opportunity, and I hope it continues.
It's really great to hear. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank
you, Greg. It was really a
Greg.
pleasure to meet you, Nizar.
My pleasure.